Good evening and welcome to the City Council meeting of the City of Lenoir for Tuesday, June the 5th, 2018. We welcome you here this evening. And as we normally do, we will get started in just a minute with our moment of silence, and we will remain standing for our Pledge of Allegiance. We thank you for being with us this evening. As we go to our time of moment of silence and prayers, would like to continue keeping Shirley's husband Rex in our thoughts and prayers. Amen. We hope if everything goes well, he will be home tomorrow if it keeps moving, which is great news, and we're really glad to hear that. And Shirley, thanks for all. I know you've had a tough time of getting around to everything, but we appreciate all you do. And thanks for, I know, being here tonight. I know it's, but we're glad that things are moving in the right direction. We'll keep you and your family in our thoughts and prayers. And if we will, we'll go ahead, and I would like to say thanks before we get started to over the weekend. Thank you all for the weekend swinging, winging, moon over June, getting started with our summer kickoff. And thanks for everyone, all you guys sitting right there did a great job of getting everything going and started for the summer fun. And it was a great weekend for that. A lot happening. We'd like to say congratulations to South Caldwell ladies softball team. We'd like to add that as we wish they could have won the state, but they were runner-up, and that's quite an accomplishment. So we're very proud of what they did there in their games. Went 3 games on that before losing, and but we're very proud of them. And also a great note just to mention to you, our local hero Madison Bumgarner is back pitching tonight. His debut for this season. We hope that that goes well, and we'll keep an eye out as he returns to pitch tonight. So please join us now for a moment of silence. We'll remain standing for our pledge. Thank you. Please salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item tonight is a matter scheduled for a public hearing, and that would be our FY 2018-2019 annual budget. And of course, we will hold this to receive comments regarding the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1st of 2018 through June 30, 2019, of course, for the City of Lenoir. Upon conclusion of this hearing, we can adopt the enclosed budget ordinance if so desired. So I'll now open the public hearing, and if there's anyone who would like to address the council concerning this, I think everyone here pretty much our employees, so we're glad that you're with us and that. So,
and you too, Virginia.
Well, Virginia's here a lot too, so we include her as part of that. So anyway, if there's no one to address, I will close the public hearing and turn it over to council for any discussion. We'll open that up. Yes, sir, Mr. Rohr.
All right. So. And I sent council an email last night. I don't know how many of you got a chance to take a look at it. I obviously, because of some prior obligations, had missed both the presentation of the budget from our city manager and then the one budget meeting we did have. But I expressed the main concern I have with the budget is the 4.8% mid-year raise that's proposed for city employees. And as I indicated, if it's the will of council that we do that, I understand, but I would feel more comfortable if that's what we're going to do, that instead of doing a 4.8% raise mid-year, we do a 2.4% raise immediately, July 1st. And the difference, the effect to the employees isn't any different. Instead of getting 4.8% for half a year, they get 2.4% for the whole year. But it gives us additional flexibility moving forward. By making it 4.8%, we're blocked moving forward of maintaining that for the 1920 budget, 2021 budget, so on and so forth. By making it 2.4% immediately, if we so choose next year, we can institute another 2.4% raise, which gets us to 4.8% anyway. But it gives us flexibility. By doing it half year, it sort of delays the full effect. We only have to deal with it for half the year this year. We've got to deal with it for every year, for the entire year moving forward. So that's the main issue I have. The other issue I have is, and our city manager wasn't nice enough to pull this together in terms of over the history, over the last 10 years or so, the solid waste fees, as well as the tax increases that we've put on the property tax rate. Given that we're looking at a fund balance estimation of 43%, which is almost twice what our goal is, 24%, and I think that, doesn't the government accounting office recommend at least, 12 or 16? Is it 12?
Eight is the.
So we're going to be 5 times what they recommend. Now, certainly 8% is only like 1 month. That's probably too little. But I'd feel far more comfortable if we were at 16 to 24% rather than 43%. I think that's just way too much. If we've got that much, the recommendation is that we could spend it on capital projects as council deems appropriate. I'd prefer exploring, and I know in general you don't want to spend down fund balance to balance the budget, but I would recommend that we look at reducing the tax rate and reducing the burden on taxpayers if we've got that much of a fund balance, instead of spending it on capital projects or paying down debt rather than more capital projects, particularly if we're looking at, if we have concerns about the interest rate going up in the future. So those would be my concerns, that I'd recommend that if the will of the council is to spend the amount of money to institute 4.8% mid-year, that instead we do 2.4% immediately, so that we have the flexibility moving forward, and that we explore a tax rate reduction if we've got enough extra to be at a 43% fund balance. So that's what I have to say.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anyone else have any? Mr. Purdue?
The fund balance is projected to be for the year that is ending now.
Correct.
Going forward, we're not projecting in this next budget.
It's a balanced budget, and we hope to go back and, you know, every year we project to go back and break even. That's required by state statute.
Right.
But we know we have a lot of capital improvement projects on the horizon, and so this money will give us some flexibility about paying cash versus borrowing money on some of those projects, from street paving to building renovations to the city hall to the parks and recreation facilities to a lot of things. We know we've got commitments right now on $200,000 for the Hospital Avenue sidewalk project. We have a $100,000 commitment to Part F grant that we have to go back and come up with as well. And that's kind of been programmed in going forward. So that money does have some uses. We're fortunate we had some good years the last couple years with that, but we can't guarantee, you know, those strong years in the future.
Right, and so that's why I think it would help alleviate it may alleviate some of your concerns by using it for such projects as that. It's not like we're just warehousing money.
Yeah.
And so I'm very comfortable with how we're handling the fund balance.
And I likewise, Todd, based on a little bit of what you said, I think the extra money that we have in there is because of good management and the involvement of our employees and looking at our expenditures and how they can reduce those. But I don't think we're going to go out looking for things to do with it. I think we're going to try to move forward paying cash rather than financing additional debts when possible. And so,
And of course, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Less debt's better. Yes, that's good.
I would note also that
Yeah.
the budget has no debt this year, except for the fire station. So there's no additional debt added to the current budget.
and I was going to mention that was
I'm sorry.
also. So that's, I think we're trying to be wise in our management of our taxes we do collect. And, you know, if you'll remember several years ago, probably 8 years ago, we talked about there may need to be increases along the way, because I think we agreed that we prefer to keep all the tax increases to a minimum, and if we have to have anything like that, to try to make it small when we do that, so it's not a big, you know, shock to our taxpayers. But I appreciate your comments on that, but I think I'm satisfied with what you have told us about how those funds are going to be used.
And I agree with, it does a couple of things because of all the great work that our staff and our departments have done. We, one, get to invest in our employees, and that's great from years past. And two, our debt services look a lot different to where we can certainly pay cash for some of the improvements, and our people in our community will be able to see the results of everything that we're doing with some of those capital improvements. So I'm certainly in favor of all the work we've done and how we've ended this year's budget.
And I'd like to say that I talked to Scott this afternoon, and he relayed to me that it's customary for our pay increases to go into effect January 1, or has been for the last 10 years or so.
In 2006.
And the 4.8 that we have slated really is going to help our employees and their families. And we need to reward our employees for job well done, and we also need to be able to attract and retain new employees, especially in fire and police, and be at or above pay levels in regards to other municipalities around us. And I think we really need to keep that percentage rate, because going forward, it will really help our employees to stick with us.
I think from a standpoint of I think our committee of the whole meeting, where we attributed all of our financial success and all of our city successes to the people that are in charge of what we have here, particularly our finances, our employees, what a great job they have done as the position that we're in now, seeing that we don't have to go in debt, we don't have to borrow anything, that anything that we need to do, we can just pull it from our fund balance. So I attribute all of this to the people that are looking at our books and our finances and even our employees. I think that anything that we can do that will retain good employees, I think that we should go overboard and all out to do that as we look at some of our maintenance people, some of the buildings, a lot of the roads, a lot of the pipes, and a lot of things that these guys do that save the city a lot of money. And this is because of, I guess, the years that a lot of these guys have been here, and they have gained a lot of knowledge and wisdom. So the more that we can do to retain this kind of knowledge, I think the better off we're going to be down through the years. So I support what we're doing here.
Yeah, and I agree with what most of everybody said, and I understand TJ's point of view too. And we're starting to see all the incentives and things that we've given to industry are starting to come off. Those 5-year incentives are starting to come off when we were in the middle of this recession. So I think that it may be wise to consider maybe a tax reduction in the future. I think this year we're good. I think we're in sound position. But if the tax revenues continue to come in as we are pulling in all these new industries that have come in at reduced tax rates, and now those rates they're going to start to be paying normal rates. If the revenues continue to be solid, then we need to consider that. Also, as the fund balances, you never know. The unknowns are always expensive. The sinkhole we've had down here off of West Avenue, I mean, that was $1 million. These the $1 million surprises that we continue to have. It's nice to have this cushion. And the next grant that may be coming, I know you don't like it, but the next grant that may become available may require matching funds, or that we may be able to take advantage of. So I agree. I think we're in a great fiscal shape. The city has done a great job in putting a great budget together. I also agree with a 4.8% cost of living. The schedule is as it has been in the past. I think this is what our staff is used to and is expecting. So, and I'm hoping we'll be able to do and continue to give bonuses later on towards Christmas if the budget deems it so. So, well, I think it's a great budget, and congratulations and great work to everybody involved. I really appreciate it.
One comment off of what you just said. One of the other items that's coming up is the water supply plan that's presented tonight. And if you look in that plan at the estimated pipes that are in the ground and a lot of the old technology, we've got some issues ahead of us, I'm sure. And I'm afraid they won't be planned for. It'll be like the West Avenue
Oh, yeah.
Well,
sinkhole.
that's for sure, and it's a good thing that we are in the position we are right now. If something did happen, we're in good position where we could be able to fix these things and do the things we need to. We never know when that's going to change, and obviously something, I don't want to say catastrophic, something we don't want to happen could happen, but
Well, that's one of the issues that we're taking up now and in the
Exactly.
future is
There,
stormwater and
there are municipalities across the state that wish they could have this type of budget.
oh, that's very true. We hear that all the time. Yes, sir.
Since Mr. Willis brought it up, I'll just point out in the incentives, our estimated collection is that we're going to bring in $12.1 million in property taxes. However, we're going to refund of that 39% of our collection, $4.7 million to Google. They won't even care about that 4.7 million, but we're going to go from 12.1 million to 7.4 million just based on refunding Google alone. That would be, having an extra 4.7 million in the budget sure would be nice.
Yeah, but
They
again.
would, but they also are
Having
our
a-
number one taxpayer in the city
Having
too.
a
so,
taxpayer of that
You
amount.
got to look at all the angles of
We
what.
only got another, what, 17 years, something like that, of them getting 98% of their taxes refunded every year?
it's going to be great, huh?
Yeah, I look forward to that when we suddenly, and by then they'll have gone out of business or moved elsewhere.
No.
I certainly hope not.
Well,
I certainly hope they stick around and pay the whole freight.
continue growing. That would be good too.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, and continue mining our personal information.
Well, again, thank you, all of you, for what you have done to be a part of this. Our budget is based on things that all of you as department heads and leaders in the city have worked toward. You've helped us save, you've helped us do the things that build up the fund balances and the things that we have because of how you do your jobs, and that's a good thing, and we appreciate it. Now's a chance, hopefully, we can take some of this and be able to not only reward, but to help grow some things as we look forward to growing with our city, new employees as we look down the road and having an opportunity to be able to do that. I know we've had some tough years, and finally we've had some years where we can do these things, and that's the reason we are considering what we're considering right now. So I think that's
One
a
thing
good
I would add is that, as you're aware, we're talking about changing our health insurance provider, and that's part of the budget, and that's part of the reduction we have in the budget this year is by saving a substantial amount of money by changing providers. So with your motion, if you decide to adopt the budget this evening, we would ask you to go back and authorize the mayor and manager to execute a resolution to join the Municipal Insurance Trust of North Carolina, which is the league's health insurance pool. So I just want to mention that. We do have some documents we have to sign to go back and move that forward, but
Anyone else with any other comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion for the adoption of the budget for this FY 2018-2019.
Make a motion, we approve.
What's that?
insurance and insurance.
And the insurance,
Make a motion, we approve the budget with the insurance recommendation from the manager.
okay,
Does that work?
that works, yes. We have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Willis that we approve the adoption of the annual budget for this fiscal year, and also the
Municipal Insurance Trust.
the insurance trust documents that go along with that. No other discussion. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Okay, and that carries 6-1. Thank you very much. Mr. Manager, Donna, our finance director, thank y'all for your work on this. I know you had to spend an awful lot of time putting this together. We appreciate it.
Thank the folks on the back row.
Yeah, well, I did. I've already said thank you all to all of you for your leadership in our city and continuing to work to find every way you can, and we know you do, to save, not only save money, but spend it as wisely as you can and continue to offer the citizens of this city the services that they need and deserve. And we certainly do appreciate that.
And I
Yes,
think the important thing to remember from this is that I was in favor of giving everyone a raise immediately July 1st, and the rest of council was opposed to that. They're delaying it until January 1st. That's all I know.
Is that their takeaway for the night?
That's my takeaway.
Holding the money up. We're holding the money up.
appreciate you finding that note in there for me.
I was the one. You were the one. We're getting some money this summer.
Okay.
There's always a way to spin it.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll move on then to consent agenda items. Tonight consisting of minutes of the city council meeting of Tuesday, May 15, 2018. Item B, minutes of the city council budget work session of Thursday, May 17, 2018. Item C are minutes of the committee of the whole meeting of Tuesday, May 22nd. The item D is the final offer to purchase real property at 533 Hill Street. This would be an offer to purchase real property by resolution in the amount of $250 as submitted by Ron Walker for property located at 533 Hill Street, parcel ID number 06-17-3-9 and NC PIN number 274-957-2991. And note the legal advertisement for the notice of offer to purchase real property was published in the news topic on Sunday, May 20th, and the city did not receive any upset bids. Item E is the final offer to purchase real property at 533A Hill Street, and approval of this would be for real property, a resolution in the amount of $250 as submitted by Ron Walker for property located at 533A Hill Street, parcel ID number 06-17-3-10 and NC PIN number 274-957-3826. And again, the legal advertisement for the notice of offer to purchase real property was published in the news topic on Sunday, May 20th, and we did not receive any upset bids. Item F is the capital project budget ordinance, the Unifor Consortium Home Program. This would be for the adoption of the FY 2018-2019 capital project budget ordinance in the amount of $1,452,451 as submitted by Rick Oxford, Plan Administrator from the Western Piedmont Council of Government. Item G is capital project budget ordinance for the Community Development Block Grant Program. And this would be for the adoption of the FY 2018 capital project budget ordinance for the Community Development Block Grant Program in the amount of $137,666 as submitted again by Rick Oxford, Plan Administrator. Items A through G. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
I'm pulling off the majority of them, but two of them are going to be pretty easy to discuss. I'd like to pull off D, E, F, and G for discussion.
Okay, items D, E, F, and G will come off for discussion, so that
Approve an A,
we
B,
could
and C.
approve A, B, and C.
Yeah, the minutes.
With
That'd
a
be my motion to approve.
Motion would be to
A, B,
approve
and C.
from Councilmember Ward to approve items A, B, and C, which are the 3 minutes that are listed on there. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. That carries unanimously for those items. Now, we'll open with item D.
D and E together, I just needed some clarification, and this just occurred to me now. I noticed in Mr. Walker's written offer that there was no marking about dilapidated or run-down buildings, that he was going to be removing
They've
those.
been removed.
They've already been removed? Okay, that's the clarification I need. So I'll make a motion to approve D and E.
Okay. Items D and E, then a motion from Councilmember Ward to approve those. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. Carries unanimously. Now, item F and G.
Well, obviously,
Or F, or
I
whichever
vote
way.
against F and G every year because of, I think they should let us keep our money instead of sending it to the federal government and then getting it sent back to us with strings attached. Also, in looking at the minutes, it sounded like, although I wasn't here last month, it sounded like Mr. Perkins did a fine job of grilling Mr. Oxford, and he actually voted against it, so I'm not sure what the vote today is. It sounded like it passed last month by a 4-1 or 5-1 vote. So what are we voting on now as opposed to what he so smartly voted against last month?
I don't know if it was smart.
Last month was the action plan. This
Okay.
month's the actual budget ordinances for both those programs.
Okay, all right. So, as I annually oppose Mr. Oxford and his monetary setup, although it sounds like those are some very good projects, and I hope they do a great job for the Unifor and Lenore in particular.
Okay, thank you.
So someone else needs to make a motion.
Somebody
to
would,
approve
yeah, I
that.
don't think
Oh,
he's
you
going to
can
make
make
the
a motion to
motion,
deny.
so,
Well, then we have
Yeah,
to-
but then if my motion to deny fails, then it still hasn't passed.
I make
So
a
what do
motion we
But if you
approve
feel strong enough about
F
it,
and G, the consent agenda items,
F and
please.
G.
Say that one time?
I
No, don't do it.
okay.
I recommend that we approve F and G in the consent agenda.
All right, we
You
have a
recommend or do
motion
you
from
move?
Mayor
I
Pro Tem.
move.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis makes a motion that we approve item F, capital project budget ordinance, and item G, capital project budget ordinance for the community development block grant, the other one for the Unifor Consortium. Any discussion on that? Yes, sir.
Like a discussion just to speak to Mr. Rohr. After some discussion with Mr. Ockford after the
Yes.
meeting and discussion with other people that are involved in this community block grant, I come to a different decision or conclusion, and my vote for this would be yes.
Yo,
You're
man,
killing
sorry,
me.
TJ.
You're killing me, Smalls. Well, at least you were close
We
to
had
coming
him.
around. Maybe next year.
He's had knee surgeries on pain meds.
He wasn't quite right. Nels is right.
We'll take that into consideration.
Ambien, are you blaming it on the Ambien?
Don't print that. Okay, we have a motion on the floor then to approve items F and G on the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed,
Nay.
nay. And that passes 6-1. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on. We do not, well, this is a time on our agenda for requests and petitions of any citizens. If there's anyone here that would like to address the council tonight. Seeing everyone that works for the city, I don't think you're probably going to, so if you do, you're welcome to, except for Virginia. Yeah, and she can, yes. Okay, seeing no one, we do not have any also reports of our boards and commissions, so we'll move on to the report and recommendations of the city manager, Mr. Hildebrand.
Mayor, council, several items for information this evening. The Silvio Martinet Swing Band will be performing on the square at 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Friday, June 8th. The Fabulous Film Night is scheduled for Saturday, June 9th, with the movie Despicable Me 3 being shown at 8:30 on the square. The City County Services Committee meeting will be held on Monday, June 11th at 11:45 a.m. at the college. The Caldwell County Economic Development Commission will meet on Tuesday, June 12th at 8 a.m., and that'll be held at the Civic Center. The Lenore Tourism Development Authority will meet on Thursday, June 14th at 4 p.m., and the Lenore Business Advisory Board meeting will be held on Thursday, June 14th at 6 p.m. Both those meetings are held at third floor of City Hall. Also, the Shelby Ray Moore Band will be performed on the square on Friday, June 15th from 7 to 10. And tonight, we have two items for your action or recommendation. The first is an order of abatement for 337 Arlington Circle. This is a property that I know Mr. Rohr had some questions about the notice. And I think Ms. Wheelock can go back and go through the history of the property with you, if you want to do that.
All right. Good evening.
Good evening.
This is one of those properties that have been on our radar for a long time, that was on the minimum housing priority list, and it's just sort of now taken us long enough to get it up to in the top 10. It is located kind of in the gateway of the Arlington Circle area, so it's really near where the Freedman Cultural Center is, and kind of right where we did the Freedman High School Memorial and stuff. So it's a very visible, dilapidated structure. We had a little bit of a false start on enforcement in 2013, back before we had the priority formula. We were kind of chasing our own tail a little bit. So that's why you see one notice was sent in 2013. It was received, but they never got in touch with us. We never did an inspection at that time. We started enforcement action again when it got up into the top 10 late last year. Very common, they signed for the first letter and then proceeded to ignore our notifications after that. whenever we send certified letters, we send priority letters as well with the exact same content, which is legally sufficient if it doesn't get delivered certified but doesn't get returned to us priority. We know we have a good address. We know that we reach those individuals. So I'm confident these individuals received notice of all of the actions we've taken on this. Because we didn't have signed receipts, we went ahead and did publish an ad in the paper, just sort of as an extra step. It's been brought to my attention by the city attorney, probably best practice, what we should have done is also post it on the property. We did not do that. These owners are not local. If that's a concern, we're more than happy to post it on the property after tonight if we feel like we need to do that. It's scheduled for demolition if you approve this ordinance tonight for the week of the 11th. If we table it for 2 weeks, we would have to push that demolition, but that's something that we could do. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Ms. Jenny?
Is legal counsel now satisfied we've done what we need to do?
I think the better practice would be to table the continuation and completion of this hearing to give time to actually post the property, since we're actually tearing down the structure.
And the
even
notice of
though
posting
arguably-
has to be there for how many days?
Pardon me?
How long does that notice of posting have
I've
to be?
forgotten what the
I mean, we're not required to post it. There's no like period to post it. I think it's a way of providing additional notice, like if someone was to drive by the house instead of seeing it in the paper. The publication in the paper is sort of our legal standard, but people don't read those notices, you know? So as a matter of practice, if this body decides to table it, we'll be out there in the morning posting it.
What my concern is that the registered letter that gave the notice of the hearing and other notification was returned undelivered. Now, for other reasons, we believe they got actual notice, although we don't have specific documentation of that. And given that it is, that we're demolishing a structure and that there's no particular harm in waiting another meeting or two, in abundance of precaution, I think it would be the better practice to.
And so should we not institute that practice going forward?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
What if we postpone it and put it for 2 weeks till our next meeting, that we could post it tomorrow, and then in 2 weeks at our next meeting, go ahead, and that gives it, should give it ample time.
And that notice will give the new date and time.
Yeah, absolutely, we could do that. And then just as an aside to this, this is a section of the housing ordinance that the housing inspector, Zach Clark, and I have been looking at. We'd like to change the language in the ordinance to make it abundantly clear when we can post and what we can post, to make it better for the community to see these kind of neon postings. The minute the order gets issued, that the order to demolish. This is actually a posting that's happening after they failed to comply with the order. So we're gonna look at all of our posting moving forward, but we can get it posted tomorrow if you want to make a motion to table this until the meeting 2 weeks from
I'll make a motion to
now.
table till the 19th. Or continue, and we tabling it just to continue, what's the language?
Well, you've started the hearing, but you've not had the hearing in order to provide this opportunity.
We'll just continue this public hearing until the 19th.
Yes.
With the knowledge that it will be posted on the property itself.
Right,
That's correct.
okay. We have a motion then from Councilmember Perdue to continue the public hearing until the 19th of June, and with immediate posting of it tomorrow morning, and to move forward at that point in time. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate that. All right,
Mr. Mayor, I'm the manager.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor.
I'm not the manager. I'm not taking that role.
Anyway, the next item tonight is the resolution to adopt the 2017 local water supply plan. We have to go back and update that every 5 years. You have in your packet a copy of that plan and a resolution to adopt. And if you want more detail on that, I can have Mr. Thomas come up and explain the nitty-gritty of water.
Has it changed significantly in 5 years? I should have asked. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm sorry. Are we still in a drought? Are we still in a drought?
No.
Okay.
TJ, he's going to talk about turbidity. He's going to talk about
Turbidity
turbidity. So
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, this won't take
Don't let them
long.
give you a hard time.
And
say that except I'm afraid to.
there was some question about why this is a 2017 plan. All of the data that's used to put this together that you're considering in the report that you've seen is 2017 numbers, all of that data. The one number that has changed, and I think significantly over the last 5 or 6 years, is you'll see a percentage in there of water loss, unaccounted for water. And this year it's at 12%. 6 years ago, five or 6 years ago, that number was up in the range of about 28 to 30%. We've made significant improvement on just accounting for where the water's going, but also reducing our water losses quite a bit. The metering project that we have underway, I think, will improve this number quite a bit, as well as some of the improvements that we're making at the plant. We'll use less finished water for washing filters and so forth. So I really believe that when we get our metering project in place and underway, I think this number, a real good chance of getting it down in the single digits. And that's something that a lot of water systems would love to have.
You're welcome for me asking that question.
Thank you. Anything else?
Any other questions while Radford is up here?
How much rain we got in the last 2 weeks?
Oh, gosh, it sounds crazy, but I think a lot of it depends on where you measure it. I think in Blowing Rock, they've had 15 inches in the last 30 days. We're not quite that bad. We've had our share, and
Sure feels like it.
14 and a half at the water plant.
Okay, so,
Wow.
and it's just been one of those
In McDowell
those
County's
crazy-
been like 22 inches or something like that?
one of those crazy spells, and so right now we're really good. The groundwater's looking great, and everything's recharged, and so we're doing well.
Any significant issues of anything you've had to deal with, or?
Not particularly. One of the things that we've really dealt with down at the plant, and it's partly because of the construction that's underway, we're operating the plant on 3 filters instead of 4 because one of them's out of service, being rehabilitated, the work that they're doing there. So the turbidity levels went up. They got into the 80s, 90s, pushing 100, and we're running on 3 filters, and that pushed us a little bit, but the folks down at the plant, as always, do a great job, and they found ways of getting it through and keeping the water quality, spot on. So
Good.
we're doing well.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Yep, thank you.
Okay.
And along that line, we might want to try to plan a little field trip sometime for the council to go down and see all the work that's being done down there. We'll try to pull that together
Yeah, I think that'd be
sometime
good.
and just take a morning and ride down
Wait till the
there.
mud goes down a little bit anyway.
What's that?
Wait till the mud's down a little bit anyway.
Yeah, it's drying out, so it's not too bad. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to
Okay.
approve.
Oh, okay. Well, get ready to ask for it. Do we need to read all the numbers on this?
It's 2017.
Okay. 2017 Local Water Supply Plan Resolution. We have a motion from Councilmember Rohr to approve this as presented. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Thank you. Carries unanimously. Anything else?
Just one last update. We talked about, as committee of the whole, about the Clean Water Management Trust Fund, Zack's Fork property. After some discussions with the state, they've reconsidered their amount, and they're willing to go back to the grant amount of the $755. So I think at the end of the day, the city will clear probably $690,000 on the conservation easement on the Zack's Fork property, and hopefully that'll be closed by June 30.
That's at least
Believe
today.
it when I see it.
That's bold talk.
That's the report today.
Checks in the mail.
I gave it the office.
So we appreciate the continued work on that too, by everyone. We decided we weren't dealing with that way, so I think we're moving forward the way we originally started, so that was good on that. Okay, Mr. City Attorney, anything from you?
I have one matter, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
This is actually a matter that has been handled by Carol Tuttle, my partner, because it involves a bankruptcy. In 2008, Furniture Brands International Incorporated filed a Chapter 11 bankruptcy in Delaware. And Mr. Tuttle, on behalf of the city as well as on behalf of the county, filed claims in that Chapter 11 reorganization, not a Chapter 7 liquidation proceeding. The city's claims were two claims, one for ad valorem taxes, which, as I understand from him, has been paid. The other claim was an unsecured claim, and that was related to a economic incentive agreement that was entered into in November, I think, of 2008, in which the Caldwell County and the city provided a total together of $2 million. I think the city's portion was $500,000 of that. And that was related to Furniture Brands agreeing to consolidate some operations from another town, I believe Taylorsville, and then do an upgrade in the city of Lenoir, and then maintain a certain minimum 750 full-time employees in full-time jobs located in Caldwell County. On September the 9th of 2013 is when the Chapter 11 proceeding was filed in Delaware. And that has proceeded on. Mr. Tuttle has received a communication from the trustee. Well, first of all, let me tell you, the city's two claims, there were two portions of its unsecured claim. One was for $50,000 that was related to the failure to maintain jobs at a sufficient level during the initial period of time. So that's an unsecured claim. We don't have to be concerned about the secured tax claim that's already been paid. But the rest of the claim was a contingent claim, depending on whether or not the job levels were maintained under the Chapter 11. And it's my understanding, as at the time of the filing of our claim, that their job levels were adequate at that time. So the question is, well, what is the amount of the rest of the claim? And the bankruptcy trustee has proposed that the city stipulate that the amount of its unsecured claim is $150,000, and that as an unsecured claim, the city would receive money like other unsecured creditors in the same manner as unsecured creditors. Mr. Tuttle tells me that he believes that that amount is 5.4% on the dollar. Now, I will tell you, in my discussions with him, his expectations would be that unsecured creditors would receive no money on the dollar. But in any event, that is what the trustee has proposed. I think that works out to something like, well, I don't know.
$7,500.
$8,000.
Yeah, $8,100.
Now, the alternative, of course, is to go to Delaware. Well, some unsecured creditors can accept, some cannot. It would be quite, involve Delaware Bankruptcy Council, go before the court and say, well, court, you should allow our unsecured claim have more than the other. It would be quite involved. Mr. Tuttle recommends that you agree to the stipulation. My understanding is the county has already agreed. And so before he enters into the stipulation and agreement with the trustee, I'm bringing it before you. More detailed questions about the bankruptcy, I'd have to refer to Mr. Tuttle.
That's about, I think.
You don't have to say it.
I believe that 5.4 is about what they retired.
I love it when we discuss incentives like
Money
this.
got for their retirement.
So this was a Chapter 11 reorganization. Does any part of this company still exist?
I assume under Chapter 11, I don't know specifically, but I would assume so, into Chapter 11.
Is there a business in Lenoir that is,
What's left of it?
that's what's left over of this company?
It's my understanding that
Not under that name.
was liquidated.
But The company that it came after that is still operating.
Yes,
It-
that's not part
But
of
they
It's
have no
not part of
liability.
this, but they're still going. I mean, people are still employed at, what is it, Heritage?
Heritage Group.
Yeah, I guess Heritage
Home
bought
Group.
the assets.
They would not
That
have
money
that.
is what's sitting in the pot for unsecured creditors, what's
Okay.
left over after paying secured creditors. That's why
So
we're
they
getting
didn't just
5%.
reorganize and change their name. Okay.
Although actually their entity is called now FBI Wind Down Incorporated, FKA Furniture Brands International, Inc. I guess that's formerly known as Simpson. But anyway, that is that pending action. It was filed some years ago.
Good to have another say.
And as, from a legal perspective, as well as a practical cost benefit perspective, I would join Mr. Tuttle in that recommendation.
Go ahead, sir.
All right, so I'll give the positives. At least they're still here. They probably would have left if we hadn't done this. But I remember when we wrote those checks, and I think we were on our way back from National League of Cities conference when it came out, after we wrote them a check for $2 million, that the executives of that company got all sorts of bonuses because they'd increased their cash position, including the guy who was the head of Furniture Brands here in Lenore, got like a bonus of $1 or $1.5 million. When we'd written them a check of $2 million for them to stay here, and all they did was use it to pay off executives. And now we're getting some of that back at 5%. We're going to get about $8,000 of the $500,000 we paid them. So next time we hear, oh, well, at least this incentive we're giving them has clawbacks. Remember that clawback might end up being 5% of $150,000 based after the $500,000 we paid, plus the $1.5 million the county paid through the sales tax reinvestment and their own money. Just keep that in mind.
But we got to say that the company
Didn't I already say that?
is still
I already
here.
cut you off at the knees. I already said that. I already made that argument for you.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to reiterate it a
Yeah,
little
okay.
bit, you know, that whatever we did is done.
I'll make a motion that we accept Mr. Tuttle's recommendation. And I don't know what we'll do with that, whatever it is, $8,000?
5.4% of.
5.4% of $150,000. Yeah, it's
I have a question.
$8,000.
You said that the company is still here?
Well,
Not in that.
The
not in
business-
that
business-
business.
So,
Yeah, the company survived at that time,
There's
was
absolutely
bought
nothing we
out,
can do to the
Okay.
president.
and those employees,
It has no
which is
connection
the
at all.
reason we did
If I'm not
what we did,
mistaken,
we're still there.
they said, look, if you'll give us $2 million, we won't go to Alabama, and we'll close down the business in Alexander County and consolidate it here. So we shafted Alexander County, and then they went and then the company itself went under after paying out all the money we paid them to their own executives and not reinvesting it in the company. But yes, the jobs are still here. We'll never know, just like with any incentive program, whether they actually would have left if we hadn't paid their ransom money.
I can't say we shafted Alexander County. They were going to do that. Those jobs at least survived to come here.
Yeah, and maybe the folks from Alexander now just had a longer commute, but at least they still had their jobs.
Exactly. So it is what it is, unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way you want to look at it.
Oh, it felt sweet.
You got a motion, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It does not include the language "I told you so." The motion exempts that.
We're not. Do not put that in the motion.
That is not in the motion.
All right, we have a motion from Councilmember Rohr to accept the recommendation presented by Mr. Blair and Mr. Tuttle concerning this bankruptcy settlement. How's that? Is that the easiest enough? Any other discussion on it? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. Carries unanimously.
That's all, Mr.
Anything? Okay, thank you. Okay, quickly a report, just mentioned to you, we did make the trip last week to Raleigh for the state and town and state dinner, I think is the way it's termed. Councilmember Thomas and Willis, myself, and city manager went down for that. It was very successful, we feel like. Over 100 legislators attended. the dinner, and we had a great chance to meet and talk with them. I think the league was really pleased with the turnout of not only municipal officials who came and legislators who attended. It was in a great setting, so I thought hopefully we achieved, I hope, a lot of things that we set out to do for us locally here, which we were working with. And our representatives, two of them, had dinner with us and were there at the tables, which was very good. And we had a lot of good communication with that. Anything you guys want to add to that? But we appreciate the league doing that and putting it together for us to have a chance to go down. And we also had Rural Day, which also went on during the day. We heard a lot of talk about not only the budget, but all the things that were going on there from that. Governor spoke, President Pro Tem of the Senate, Lieutenant Governor, Speaker of the House, and others all spoke, and I think it worked out to be a really good day. Good 2 days for us anyway.
Yep.
So that's all I have. Anything from the council members that would like to add? Okay. If nothing else, we stand adjourned.